Hi, it's time for Lunch and Learn with Yvette. I am Yvette Gavin. Just give people just a quick second to get on. It's noon. I'm so excited about today. Hi, Mr. Lee. So glad you're joining us today for Lunch and Learn with Yvette. I have something I'm going to share today with everybody. There's a personal secret that I refer to as a tool that I've used in my own life to build my own career and personal growth, as well as how I grow spiritually. And I'm going to share that tip with everybody today. So I'm just going to give them a little bit more time. So how are you doing? Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, thank you. I'm really grateful that you are here. Don't forget to share with anyone that you think may benefit from the information that I'm going to be sharing today. I'm going to be talking about how to move forward. How do we take the experiences in our lives and then grow from them and advance forward? So if you know anybody that can benefit from that, or share it later, okay, either way. So I will start this off by sharing something I'm like super duper excited about right now, and I'll mention it at the end. But out of respect for those of you who are here on time for Lunch and Learn, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So over at Yvette Gavin Consulting, we are preparing this week to kick off our book tour. Recalibrate book tour. It's a city tour going around Atlanta. So for those of you who haven't seen the book or haven't grabbed a copy yet, I promise you it's well worth the investment, and it's a very small investment that's going to yield great dividends. This is not just any book. I actually have in this book some really big principles that I will assure you, if you follow them, it will lead into greater success for you. I also share, so it's almost like a storybook as well. It's not your typical business book. I share some of my personal growth stories, things that really did happen to me in corporate America, and how I grew from those experiences. And I'm going to share one of those tips today. I do talk about it a little bit in the book, but I'm going to go a little bit more here in today's Lunch and Learn on how I got there. So we're kicking off the Recalibrate book tour in Atlanta, Georgia at the Barnes & Noble on Peachtree Street, downtown Atlanta. So I am personally inviting each of you who are here in Atlanta metro area to come out and join me. Hi, Ms. Harris. Come out and join me on this Thursday at 7 p.m. And for those of you who are in Atlanta, you know if you're working downtown, you're just probably in traffic anyway around 6 o'clock. So just come on over to the Barnes & Noble, to the Barnes & Noble on Peachtree Street. I will be there. I will be answering your questions. I share some information from the book. And then if you already have the book, bring your copy. I'd be more than happy to autograph the copy that you already have. But here's the other reason I want you to come. So, and it doesn't even require purchase. You just have to be there to participate in this little gold nugget that we've come up with. We're calling it our C-Suite deal. So by being at any of my appearances throughout this book tour, you will have an opportunity to register for a drawing. And at each book tour stop, we will actually do a drawing from the people who are present. They put their name in our bucket, and then at the end of the evening, we will pull a name. That person who actually becomes a winner of our giveaway at each stop will get this. They would get an hour coaching session with me. 1 hour coaching session. But we don't stop just there. Okay, to really make this deal sweet, I wanted to move into something that we're going to be working on next year where we will be doing executive level training for people. And so the person who actually win at each book stop, their names then will go into a second drawing. So now the drawing becomes even smaller, and the winner from that drawing will receive a day with me. We're calling it our VIP special, doing our C-Suite offer. And what that means is that whatever it is that person needs help with, they will be able to leverage my years of experience and expertise for a whole day. If it means showing up with you on your job, facilitating a meeting for you if it's just additional coaching and counseling, it could be personal, because, you know, I work with people on a personal level as well as it relates to their relationships, but it also could be career. It would be whatever that person need is, and they would have the benefit of having me for a full day. So I hope you guys find that as exciting as we do, because we're really excited to be able to offer this special for those who participate by coming out and showing up at our book tour stops. And again, the first one is going to be this Thursday. We'll put more information out there so you can go back and really look at the offer. And hope you come and bring your friends as well. I also would love to meet some of you. I mean, I'm amazed and grateful at the same time with all the new connections that I've been able to make this year through Yvette Gavin Consulting, and just following the vision and the dream that God put in me to share with others all the things that He has given me. And in this process, some of you I've held conversations with. I feel like I know you because I answer all my emails and I answer all the messages that come across our social media platforms as well. And so I've connected with you in that type of way, but I haven't had an opportunity to really touch and shake your hand and really see your faces. So here's an opportunity, and one of the reasons we are doing a book tour. So we could have just did a book signing event and been done with it, right? But we're going to go throughout the city in the various areas, since Atlanta is such a large, it has such a large landscape. So I hope to see you there. But thank you so much, Ms. Lee. So with no further wait, we're going to get right in, and I will mention all that I just shared at the top about our book tour. I'm talking to you today about something that is very dear to me. I'm sharing with you a personal secret to my own success. So people frequently ask me, how do I do what I do? How did I generate or come up with the funding to start Yvette Gavin Consulting? You know, how do I propel when there have been like doors shut in my face or things didn't go quite as I had hoped they would? People ask me all the time, and I'm always being honest. You know, one of the things a relative of mine said at a recent family function, and I chuckled, and then I corrected him. And what he said was, well, Yvette always seemed to land on her feet. She's just lucky like that. Things just always work for her. Guys, I wish that was true on one hand, but then on the other hand, I'm sort of happy that it's not true, because I have learned so much from my failures. I have learned so much from my setbacks. And so I'm at a place in my life now where I don't even regret them. I don't regret any of them. And I'll just I talk a lot about growing in corporate America. I've had a lot of setbacks in corporate America. I've had a lot of mean, ungodly, unchristian-like things that happen to me in corporate America. But still to this day, I stand, and I stand strong, and I stand with confidence. And I can be here with a smile on my face that's very genuine, because I've learned how to grow from them. And here's the secret, how I learned how to grow from all experiences, not just the negative ones, but I do the same thing even when I have positive experiences, because I do. I have both, right? Just like I'm sure each of you do as well. A lot of people call it a lot of things, but I'm going to refer to it as reflection. Some people call it meditation. Some people call it their devotion time. But one thing that I have been consistent about doing in my life is taking time to be still, to pause and to reflect. When difficult things happen, I pause and I reflect. When wonderful things happen, I pause and I reflect. So much so, I've made it a part of my discipline. You know, there are things that I refer to them as discipline. Some people will refer to them as being routine. But I would hope that one thing that we all share in common is that each morning we get up, we brush our teeth. That each morning we get up, you know, we wash our faces. And so for me, pausing and reflecting is one of those things I do. I actually do it every single day. Every single day. I start my day off with a reflection. I think back on what happened the day before. I think about what I feel I think I need to get accomplished that day. I think about interactions that I've had with others. How did I treat them? How did I feel when they responded back to me? So those are daily. And I don't spend a lot of time each day and with that reflection and pause. I just make sure that I do it each day. And some people may do it in the afternoons or at night before they go to bed. But the other piece of my pause and reflection is that I've incorporated it to a place where every quarter I am making sure that I'm still, not just for a few minutes every day, but I still away. And I do, and I found so many creative ways to do that. When I share this in my book, Recalibrate, when my son was younger and financial resources were somewhat tight, I just found ways to do it in my home. I would sometimes ask my husband, to spend a day with our son away from the house so I could just be at home alone. That was my time to pause and reflect. I love bubble baths. I would close the door. My family to this day is so disciplined. They know when I start running that water in that bathtub and they smell all of those beautiful fragrance and the candles, that is, leave Yvette a long time. Unless the house is burning down, don't bother her. I don't use that time to watch TV. I rarely will use that time to read a book. It's pretty much me being still and just listening. And I'm evaluating things. And I'm just going through. Part of it is listening. The other part is keeping an image of things that have already happened and occurred. And I'm just trying to make sense out of it. And again, making sense out of it is not always just making sense out of things that went wrong in life. It is also understanding what went well so you know why it went well so you can reproduce good success. And I've seen it so many times. There were times in my own life when things really did go well for me, but I wasn't really sure why they went well. I wasn't really sure how to repeat that. How could I make it something that I could be assured that if I did step A, that I will end up where I want it to be? Pause and reflect. See, oftentimes people will tell you that experience is the best teacher in life. I don't really believe that. I believe it's evaluated experience is the best teacher in life. I believe because we all go through things. And so many people repeat the same mistake over and over and over. I'm sure you've seen it. As soon as I said that, somebody came to mind. Exactly. He said, that's what it's all about. You're absolutely right, Mr. Lee. And he says, it ain't what they say, is how you react to it. That is very true too. And one of the things about taking time to pause and reflect, it helps us to be more in control and be more intentional about how we do react to other people when they react to us. But taking that time to get to know yourself better. And that's one of the things that happen when we take time to pause and reflect. We begin to understand ourselves better. There have been so many times when I have pointed things out to a client and they just went straight into denial. That is not me. I am not like that. And then as they began, because it's not like they were just trying to rebuke, the coaching that I was trying to provide. It's just that they had not taken the time to see themselves. And we all get caught up into having to be at a job at a certain time and having to meet the obligations for our families, that we don't often take time to just pause and reflect. And when we do, and we do it in such a way, and I'm going to give you some tips on how you move into that. Because one of the things I'm also becoming aware of, it's not easy for people to just start a lifestyle of meditating, a lifestyle of pausing and reflecting. I have clients who struggle with it in the beginning as I'm assigning that as something I want them to go and start working on and incorporating in their lives. And that's very typical if you've never done that before. So that's why before I leave you today, I'm going to actually give you, hi Stanley, I'm going to actually give you some tips on how you can do that for yourselves, right? Especially if this is your first time going into pausing and reflecting. So one of the things I know for a fact is that once you start developing a lifestyle where you are pausing and reflecting on your life, you're going to move into greater potential. A lot of times, I didn't even realize that there were things there within me that I was so unaware of, because it was like I was so busy, like I was describing earlier, that I wasn't conscious of it. And I know when I see that in my clients, that's what's happening with them as well. But I also know the benefit. I remember working back in St. Louis, Missouri, back in, I guess, the early 90s. And, I was like stressed to the max, just stressed. I was a young mother. My son was no more than just a couple months old at this time. And I never will forget, I had this high profile client, and I was doing my level best. But it always seemed as if I felt like I was a day short and a dollar, a day short, and a dollar short, or however that saying goes. It was like it just was never enough, and I just could never keep up with myself. And I was there in the office working late one evening, and an older colleague of mine, I was in my 30s, she was probably already like in her late 40s or early 50s. She stopped by my office. She noticed that I was still there, and she gave me this advice. And she said, Yvette, I see you here late a lot, and you just had that baby. And I'm looking at her and like, well, yeah. And but I didn't want to lose that job, and and I want to grow, not just lose it, but I also want to grow there. And so she went on and she said to me, "You're putting in way too many hours in the office." And I'm thinking, you can say that. You've been working here for a long time. Your skin color look a whole lot different than mine. So I think sometimes I had at that time had the tendency to believe that the game was the rules of the game were a little different, and in many ways I still believe that. But anyway, it's like, yep, sure, you can say that, but no, I got to really work hard here, improve myself in this environment. But I continued to listen to her anyway. I didn't say these things back to her, because I do listen to people, especially older people who are where I want to be and have experience in the area that I want to grow in. So I listen. And this was the takeaway. She said to me, "Will it matter 5 years from now that you were here this late in the evening working on this project? Will it matter?" I had never stopped to even consider that. I had not at that time even stopped to consider that I had a young child. I have a husband at home who also need me, and that I was getting paid for so many hours to be on a job. I wasn't even thinking about the dividends of all of this and the outcome of all of it. I was just doing. And I was doing it because in part I felt that it was expected of me, and in part I felt because it was required of me. But I never stopped to think about what would be the consequences of a young mother not being home in the afternoon to put her own child to bed at night. When I say there were plenty of times in my early career where my husband would literally call me, I would be at the office at my desk so I could say goodnight to our son. Been at work already 8 hours, and now I'm working all through the evening. Plenty of times my husband has driven dinner. He have come up and brought dinner for me because I was still in the office working, and I thought that was necessary. But what I've learned, it wasn't necessary. It wasn't. When I began to pull back and reflect, when I took the time to think about, will this really matter 5 years from now? What will matter for me in 5 years from now? Sustaining a thriving marriage is one of the things I came up with. And I'm posing the question because I want you to start asking yourselves that as well. For me, it was having a relationship with my child that was genuine. I wanted to be a mother